In a developing story, the Tulsa County District Attorney is calling it a continued injustice to taxpayers and inmates. A preliminary report on the State Department of Mental Health shows they have made few changes to improving competency restoration for inmates.
These changes were part of a court-ordered consent decree from November, but a report released this week shows barely any changes have been made. Fox 23's Devin Lyon joins us live in studio to break down the details of that report. And Devin, the DA says the department should be embarrassed.
That's right. DA Steve Kunzweiler has long spoken against the state of that agency and the burden it puts on the county jails. He says this report was a gift for the agency to get their act together, but they need to do it fast because real people are suffering, and the longer they take, more of your taxpayer dollars are being spent.
This was the tornado coming across the prairie towards the Oklahoma Department of Mental Health, and it's as though they're just like, well, I guess we're going to get hit by the tornado. You know, as opposed to taking preventive steps to say, how can we, batten down the hatches.
Tulsa County District Attorney Steve Kunzweiler is reacting to a 13-page preliminary report on the State Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. It outlines their compliance with a consent decree, part of the settlement for a class action lawsuit filed in 2023 that claimed the state was letting mentally ill inmates sit in jail indefinitely without getting help for their problems.
This report is, in my opinion, a disaster. It highlights many of the things that we have known in the system for the last several years.
The consent decree was given to the agency back in November. The court consultants for the lawsuit released this preliminary report since there was a leadership change in the agency after the financial shortfall fallout at the state capitol in May.
When they were coming up with this consent decree, common sense would dictate that the commissioner of that agency would have said, all right, that's priority number one. We have woefully failed the citizens of Oklahoma. We have people who are sitting in jail who are languishing in jail. But it's not as though anything significant changed from back in November. They've known since November of 2024 all the things that were going to be obligated of them.
The interim report shows there are around 180 people in jail in Oklahoma who are waiting for competency evaluations. Another 135 people on top of that, the report found, are still in the initial evaluation phase. The Department of Mental Health was required to provide information earlier this month with plans to begin screening those inmates, but the report says the department missed 8 out of 10 deadlines in those requirements.
And it appears to me as though they sat on their hands through the entire legislative session, and they have zero excuses, in my opinion. There is no way you can explain away this.
Although there were a few improvements, such as the amount of beds added to the forensic center in Veneta, the report is still scathing, here saying, quote, "Our tour of the Tulsa County and Oklahoma County jails showed scores of people, many apparently acutely psychotic, confined to jail cells for virtually the entire day. Such confinement cannot help but worsen their conditions, given the prevailing lack of treatment for those individuals." Now, Kunzweiler says this can work as an outline for the new mental health interim commissioner, who is a retired admiral. The DA says he is hopeful by the early moves from this administration that improvements can take place. The full report is expected to come out in July, then when the agency will have to go before a judge and speak on the improvements made or lack thereof. Live in studio covering news that matters, Devin Lyon, Fox 23 News.